The first game in the Arkham trilogy, a game that most people had very low expectations for. You need to remember, in 2009, most superhero games sucked. They were made to either promote a movie, or you had games like Superman 64 or Superman Shadow of Apocalypse. Most people expected these games to fail on day one, so it was an uphill battle from the first day, but sometimes that's when some people do their best work. The game started development in 2007 with a team of only 40 people. A lot of the story design was inspired by DC works of writers like Frank Miller, Neil Adams, and Grant Morrison. The biggest influence on the series being Arkham Asylum, a serious house on Serious Earth. There are similarities, but the outline is the same. The characters and events are a bit different. Little upset that they removed Dr. Destiny and Maxi Zeus, but I understand they didn't really fit the environment that they were trying to sell. In spring of 2007, Eidos got the rights to publish a Batman game and approached Rocksteady, an unknown developer at the time, after seeing their prototype for the game in Unreal 3. The studio was in full production by September of 2007, and at some point in late 2007, they approached legendary writer of Batman the Animated Series and Detective Comics, Paul Dini. Tasked with creating an original story for the game, Dini liked the idea of a Batman game with its own story and not having to base it on a movie or TV show. He met with the team at Rocksteady and his ideas were in line with theirs. By the time Dini joined the team, the setting at Arkham had already been decided and they already had designed the island. None of it was finalized, but it was decided that the Joker would have a large role in the story. But that meant that they had to find the right motivations for characters so that players that had no interest in Batman lore wouldn't lose interest. We're not even to the point where they announced the game in 2008 or how one dev spent 2 years making over 700 different animations for Batman's cape. This game was a big deal for Rocksteady, a studio that only had made one game in 2006 on the PS2 and Xbox, Urban Chaos Riot Response, and that game was only considered average. This was basically a make it or break it moment for them. If this game failed, Eidos would have probably closed the studio, but people started to get excited the more they saw of this game. They saw a game that wasn't made to be a kid's game just because it used Batman. They saw a game that was trying to be the best it could in its genre, and a studio that had something to prove. And you need to remember that this game was co-published by Eidos and Warner Brothers, because at this point in time, Eidos owned 25% of Rocksteady. When this game came out August 29th, 2009 for the Xbox 360 and PS3, it changed the story for Rocksteady games and Warner Brothers games. For Rocksteady, it made them relevant and people recognized the name of the studio, giving them a franchise to work on. Warner Brothers games learned that they can make more licensed games if they develop them with care. They had already started making the Lego Batman games, and earlier in 2009 they released Fear 2 Project Origin, even though they still made games like the Click, Dis, and Make Up on the DS. But Warner still has published a ton of classic games since then. Scribblenauts, Bastion, Lollipop Chainsaw, Injustice, Gods Among Us, or Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. But in recent years with games like Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I think both of these companies have lost direction. But before that drags us down, let's go back and play the first game in the Arkham trilogy. This version is the Return to Arkham version that came out on the PS4 and Xbox One April 18th, 2016. The original version of the game came out on PC September 15th, 2009, and on Mac November 3rd, 2011. And the Arkham trilogy on Nintendo Switch that came out December 1st, 2023. But you need to understand, instead of running on Unreal 4 like the Return to Arkham version does, it runs on the original Unreal 3 build of the game. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the game. I remember this game looked pretty good back in the day, and the Return to Arkham version looks even better. Are they groundbreaking visuals? No, but they are good and they have aged really well. The lighting is probably one of the worst visuals in the game, but that's the lighting in most games. There were times where the textures on the walls didn't load in all the way, but that only happened 2 times. The other thing that you will notice is the amount of detail that they put into Arkham and the characters. They definitely spent hours designing the characters to make sure they fit the environment that they're in. They all look great, and the Batsuit actually gets damaged as the game goes along. It's a nice little touch for immersion. They only have a few skins for the average enemies, so you will be able to tell what enemies you are fighting and what weapons they have. But that also means that you will see the same enemy over and over again. That does get broken up by boss fights with legendary Batman villains like Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, and Scarecrow. Some of the best sections of this game are the Scarecrow sections, with the last one that made people believe that their Xbox 360 or PS3s were dying. Like, the first time that happened to me, I thought my 360 was about to red ring again. Like, the only other game that made people feel that way was Eternal Darkness. Those effects were crazy. Like, it would say your controller is unplugged and you would have to get up, unplug the controller, then plug it back in. Then you would have the volume that would just turn down. That game broke the fourth wall like crazy. But one of the best things about this game is that it's dark without being colorless or dark. When this game came out, there were a bunch of other games that were trying to be dark, and the way that they would do this was by making everything gray with no color. This game does have a dark feel, but there is so much color. Nothing looks dark or gray. The darkness comes from the tone that they set up early. This also means that these iterations are more similar to their comic book counterparts, not just in personality, but also in character design. This is excellent in my opinion. I love Batman and DC, so seeing good depictions of these characters is something I'll always like. One of the biggest criticisms that you will see of this game is the depictions of Harley and Poison Ivy. And I understand them, but I think some of you don't understand these characters. I have my problems with the modern anti-hero persona that Harley is now. But that's only because Harley is such a popular character. Like, if you're gonna use the Harley Quinn 2019 series to try and disprove me, you already lost. Harley was specifically made for Batman the Animated Series in 1992. She was only supposed to be in one episode, and she wasn't even considered canon until 1999. And I know the only reason they updated her character was to appeal to more people that don't even like comics. And that actually hurts the entire DC universe in the long run. Like, you can get mad at her outfit if you want, but the real problem is that a lot of you are upset that you don't look as good as Lisa Foyles dressed up as Harley Quinn, and you never will. And to the people that always get upset at Ivy's depiction, she is an eco-terrorist that constantly tries to commit genocides against all of humanity. She also uses poison that she can transmit from her skin to poison people to do her bidding, or she can just straight up kill you. Like, the New 52 killed these characters, changing them to try to get teenage girls to read comics. They don't care. If they did, they would be buying comics instead of manga. Like, if you truly believe that the New 52 is good, you probably also think that the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has an excellent story and is the future of gaming. You also probably really liked Birds of Prey and Madam Web. But let's talk about what Harley wears. It doesn't make sense. I understand the complaint. There's no reason for her to be wearing a mini skirt that short, but Poison Ivy is always dressed like that. Even Uma Thurman dressed like that in Batman and Robin in 1997. Ivy will use her looks to get what she wants sometimes. That's part of why she dresses like that. Also, women, it's time for all of you to admit that you like to look at other women just as much as men. Data actually backs up that point. Look it up. Now let's move on to the soundtrack. That's actually pretty good and has some good compositions on it. The thing is, none of this will really stick with you after you stop playing the game. The audio design is also something that I didn't pay attention to as much as a kid, but now I see how good it is in this game. Whenever you're outside in the rain, you can hear rain pellets hitting Batman's suit. You can hear footsteps as people move around the level. The voice acting is also top tier. You have a lot of people coming back from Batman the Animated Series. People like Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and Arlene Sorkin. Just like the little things that I didn't care about when I was younger are all here. And it shows how well this game has aged in just about every category. This is the base of what the entire Arkham series is built on. It shows that this is the first game in the entire series. This entire system was improved massively in Arkham City. But the base is here. You hit X, square to throw punches, and triangle, Y to counter. Though the range at which attacks will hit is much smaller in this game, so he won't jump across an entire room to hit one guy like in later games. Though you can only use batarangs in combat, there's no quick time action for exploding gel like in later games. So that shows one area where the games have expanded. In stealth, there's a few things that were added in later games that make it way more fun, like the instant takedown. If you are about to be spotted, it lets you instantly take them down so you can disappear. Also, smoke pellets are not in this game. In this game, if Batman gets spotted, you just have to run and hope that they lose you instead of disappearing into smoke like Batman typically does. Nothing about this gameplay is bad, but after going back and playing this, it makes me miss the things that they added in Arkham City and later games that build on what's here. The things that were added in later games made the game better, including the gliding system that was built on. The base of the game is so good that you can't just ignore it. It just set a standard for all of the games in the Batman Arkham series. This was just the base that the entire series was built on. I think it's fine, but if you've never played this game, some of these choices may annoy you, like not having smoke pellets, one of the best gadgets that Batman uses. The story isn't the greatest in the world. It's basically a comic book story. If you know these characters, you will probably be able to predict what is going to happen in the story. But it's not the plot that carries this game, it's the characters that carry the game. Joker has attacked City Hall and Batman has captured him and brought him back to Arkham Asylum, which is temporarily housing inmates from Blackgate Prison due to a fire. Batman accompanies Joker into the asylum, believing the Joker allowed himself to be captured. Once the Joker is put through prisoner transfer, he attacks a doctor, and with Harley in control of the security system, Joker gets away. With Joker's inside man, Frank Bowles, kidnapping Commissioner Gordon. To keep people off of the island, Joker has stated that there are bombs all over Gotham that he will detonate if anyone tries to come on the island, meaning Batman has to go alone. After tracking Harley to medical, Batman runs into Scarecrow for the first time, being exposed to his fear toxin. Fighting off the effect of Scarecrow's hallucinogens, Batman is able to get Harley and save Commissioner Gordon. Joker then leads Batman to Bane, who is being kept under the asylum as he learns of the experiments that Dr. Penelope Young has been performing on him. While underground with Bane, Joker frees him and injects him with venom. Eventually, Batman is able to defeat Bane by ramming his Batmobile into him and sending him into the ocean. Batman then goes to a secret Batcave that he has built on Arkham Island to refill his supplies. While there, he also discovers the reason why Joker gave himself up so easily. He wanted to be there so that he could get to Dr. Young. It is here where Batman learns that Titan is an upgraded version of Venom, the same chemical that makes Bane incredibly strong. It was originally for patients that survive strenuous therapy. Joker has been secretly funding Dr. Young's research under one of his aliases, Jack White, with the intent of creating a superhuman army. But when Dr. Young rejects him, Joker plans out his next visit to Arkham. While trying to find Dr. Young, Batman finds the Titan formula and destroys it, trying to make sure no one can use it. Victor Zsasz takes Young hostage, and shortly after, Batman saves her. She is killed by a bomb, as Joker gets the Titan formula. Meanwhile, back at the penitentiary, Harley lets Poison Ivy out before being captured by Batman. She also lets it slip as to where the Joker's secret production plant in the botanical garden is. There, Batman learns that Titan is made using genetically modified plants. Ivy informs Batman that there are spores that can be used to make an antidote, but the only place those spores can be found are in Killer Croc's lair in Arkham's sewer. Joker injects Ivy with Titan, enraging her powers and putting killer plants all over Arkham. While on his way to deal with Killer Croc, Batman runs into Scarecrow again. This pursuit ends up in the sewer below Arkham, where Scarecrow is attacked by Killer Croc and pulled underwater. Batman is able to get the spores and avoid Croc. As he gets back to the Batcave, he is only able to make one dose of the antidote before Ivy's plants destroy the Batcave. Intent on stopping the rampaging plants, Batman returns to the botanical garden to return Ivy to her cell. After defeating Ivy, Joker announces that the party has started and invites Batman to the visitor center to join the fun. It is here that Joker reveals that he has recaptured Gordon and tries to shoot him with a Titan dart. Batman jumps in front of Gordon, taking the shot himself. Batman resists the change, upsetting Joker, who takes an overdose of Titan, turning him into a monster. There's a battle arena on the roof where Joker challenged Batman to a Titan fight. Batman refuses and uses the antidote on himself, fighting off Joker and his henchmen. After the fight, those who took the Titan start to change back, including the Joker. Batman hears the police scanner talking about Two-Face and calls in the Batwing to make his way to the other side of Gotham. Then credits. And there is a post-credits cutscene that I'll leave for the people that actually play this game, so you're at least surprised by something in the story. Just like I said earlier, this is a comic story, so nothing is groundbreaking. It's enough to tell an engaging story. It doesn't have to be complex, just well done. This game is still great. It's still the base to a huge franchise that still influences games to this day. So many companies have copied the combat system from this game, and we know that people will continue to copy it. The series got better as time went on, but when this game came out in 2009, people praised this game and it won a ton of awards and sold 4.3 million units. This game shocked people. Once again, like I said earlier, people had very low expectations for this game. Most people thought it was going to be just another licensed piece of garbage. So when it came out and it was actually fun, it blew people away. It got 8s and 9s from everyone because, once again, people thought it was going to be trash. Like, people were comparing this game to BioShock, Resident Evil, and Metal Gear Solid. Like, this shook the industry. Like, you can try on a licensed game and make a good game with good sales. That blew people away. This was when the idea of every movie and character needing a licensed game died, because now all of those games were being compared to this one. It made a lot of publishers and developers look bad and lazy. All of that being said, this game has aged like a fine wine. It's still a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend this game to people. I would give it an 8 out of 10. The only other Batman games that are better than this are other games in the same series. But that's just my opinion. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Tell me what you have to say about Batman Arkham Asylum in the comments section down below. And while you're there, you can also like the video, and you could subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell for notifications while you're there. And I'll see you all next time.